Welcome everyone. Good crowd. I always pull a good crowd. Welcome this morning's session on the global opportunities of e-com marketplaces. And we're just going to run through the agenda. We're going to cover some top-line statistics and facts on last year. Marketplaces as an opportunity and more about what they are. Some marketplaces across Europe of note. Some key marketplaces across the world. Barriers to entry, benefits to marketplaces. Short case study on a Bleakbox tech product we put onto Newegg, and how to enter, launch and maintain your marketplace once you're up and live. Some top line stats here. In 2017, over 2 trillion, 2.3 to be exact, was spent on e-commerce transactions globally. This is on track to double by 2021, so a lot happening over the next 3 years. Global marketplaces are to take nearly 40% of online share by 2020, and cross-border sales will grow by 17 between 2018 and 22, compared with just 12% of e-com in general. So some great numbers there for e-com and cross-border. A less positive statistic is that the UK is not leading the way in this, unfortunately. The Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium and Germany, with between 75 and 88% of companies trading outside their borders. However, it's good for you guys sat here because you're looking at it and you'll take a charge on your UK competitors by embracing the opportunities of cross-border expansion. So what are they? What are marketplaces? Like other disruptors such as Airbnb, Uber and Facebook, marketplaces are merely platform providers. A marketplace is a type of e-com site where product is provided by multiple third parties, with transactions being processed by the marketplace operator. The operator of the marketplace, in most cases, does not own the inventory, and their business is basically to present and promote your products and sell them to their customer base, and then facilitate the transaction safely and securely. In the most simplest terms, a marketplace is online department stores with multiple concessions. Amazon and several others like Newegg and Zalando operate a hybrid version of this, where they also sell their own products, offer fulfillment and warehousing. So where do they exist? Marketplaces have been around for around 20 plus years, but have definitely seen a spike in the last 3 to 4, since about 2014. Marketplaces have been the buzzword in e-commerce. Does anyone in the room know roughly how many marketplaces there are in the world at the moment? Good guess. Anyone else? No, there's about 150. There's no definite stat to this, but there's about 150 global marketplaces currently trading. From all over the world, from India to, obviously they're growing more and more exponentially with new launches in Australia. So yeah, it's a growing space, and it's probably worth someone doing that statistic to getting the exact number, but there's variance on that with Facebook launching a marketplace, so they're not pure marketplace models, but there's about 150 globally. So within what verticals are we seeing this growth? They often offer a wide variety of general interest products that cater for almost all the needs of the consumer. Excuse me. However, some are more category specific and cater for particular segments only. Not only is the platform as a platform for selling online, but user interface and user experiences are key factors to the success across various verticals, and they often offer a loyal and repeat customer base that are targeted through events, flash sales, and social media channels. So where are they going? As the last slide noted, they're doing very well and they're here to stay. Key players in this space are seeing double and triple digit growth year on year, and that doesn't just include Amazon and Alibaba. There's a lot of players in the marketplace turning over billions. Here are some key marketplaces of note. Europe was a massive European market, was worth over 600 billion 2017, with some key marketplaces here that I would say for the spring fair crowd would be Flubbit to take a look at, Cdiscount, not on the high street, across various countries, and across Europe, definitely worth looking at Amazon, Etsy and Frugo for cross-European penetration. The Americas, US was worth over $400 billion last year, and LATAM was just under 60 billion. Some big names there in the US, the Amazons and Walmarts. I'd say probably for the Spring Fair crowd again, Amazon, Wish, Top Hatter and Etsy are the top 4 to look at, and Mercado Libre and Linio in LATAM. The MENA market is probably the slowest market in uptake of marketplaces in cross-border and e-com in general, but they're catching up. I think it's probably due to the legacy of mega mall culture where people like to shop in mall, but this is changing due to the millennials and the youth being very early adopters in terms of smartphones. They're probably buying about 2 a year, so they're very engaged with social and digital, and they're buying a lot more online, so this is definitely seen as a growth area. With Amazon taking over Souk.com, they're obviously noticing this, and if Amazon's launching, it will be a good sign. 25 billion last year, so they're getting there. So on the MENA front, I'd say look at Amazon and Noon, and in Africa, Mum's World and Conga are probably the market leaders to look at for this sector. And the big player and the market leader is Asia and Australasia marketplaces. China alone represents just over 1 trillion in e-com spend and trade. Japan, 80 billion, Australasia over 35 billion, and India in the just over 38 billion mark. India is growing very rapidly and definitely a market to keep an eye on over the next year or so. China is historically quite a hard market to break into, but the big players there are JT, Alibaba. Newegg's just launched into this space with no upfront fees, so it's definitely worth a look. And in India, Flipkart is pretty good for this sector again. And Catch in Australia, Amazon's just launched in Australia, but they're not quite there yet. And Rakuten, Japan, I'd say, and TradeMe in New Zealand. So there's quite a lot of marketplace across this region to look at, but you can always take advice on this from various companies, Pivot included. So barriers to entry, what are they? You've seen the marketplaces. Let's look at the barriers. Supply and demand is one of the biggest. A merchant looking to sell cross-border, you've got to do your due diligence, do research on shopping and foreign trends. Well, your products might sell in the UK, they might not be as popular elsewhere. So it's important to understand local nuances and customs. So for China in particular, white is seen as a colour for funerals and deaths, so probably not best to go and launch white chocolate boxes or anything relevant unless you want to sell to that sector. But and also the Middle East is quite there's a few barriers to the dress code, so do your due diligence, look into it before you sell your products and go further overseas. Some of the top global categories for cross-border purchasing include clothing and apparel, consumer electronics, travel and transport, digital entertainment, and toys and hobbies. So thinking local. When selling overseas, it's important that merchants customize their shopping experience and to their international customers. Key things to look at and to consider when building international online presence include correct translation, localized secure payments and returns methods, pricing to reflect local competition, and imaging that will give the customer the opportunity to visually interact with your product. I can't stress how important the images are, and it's often a barrier with the cost implication, but the image is what's going to pull and grab the attention of the buyer and get them to click the buy box. And a bad image not only detracts from your product, it can also affect the trust in the product. If you have the capability also to look at offering an augmented reality solution, we'll get one up on your competitors because not many people are doing this yet, and it will increase engagement and sales. The fun part, taxes and duties, is always something that you need to be aware of and obviously abide by. This is a big blocker for a lot of sellers because of the paperwork involved. Some marketplaces, however, offer tax calculators, and some pay the taxes on your behalf, acting as merchant of record. There are also third-party tax solutions like TaxJar that will offer plugins to help you deal with and pay your taxes cross-border. Also, DIT have lots of information on this on their site, so take a look there. Delivery timelines that merchants are able to achieve are important again in large regional differences. Customers in Tier 1 cities in China and Northern Europe will typically cancel an order if not received within 1 week, but customers in Southeast Asia and more remote areas we're happy to wait up to 3 or 4 weeks if they're informed of this at point of sale. Countries like New Zealand are a lot closer than you may think, with costs dropping all the time with freight and distribution, and the delivery time is a lot less, like around 3 days now, so definitely achievable and definitely a country to look at. Customer service, both pre and post sale, different these differ variously across countries. Some countries don't need a lot of customer service interaction, but others do. But you need to have local support often on the phone or on live chat, and it will definitely increase conversion rates. The cost of supporting this element can easily grow beyond the initial expectations expected, but markets like China, you are required to have considerable human support and pre-sale stage. But again, there are companies that will help with this, and lots of marketplaces offer in-system customer service chat, and in various languages as well. Resource is obviously a key one as well. Like if you're building a bricks and mortar store or going somewhere or launching a new storefront, obviously online is exactly the same. You need to take time and effort to look at the expansions of new countries, and there is a lot to consider before taking the next step to go overseas. However, there are many companies set up to help with this, from setup and launch phase to onboarding, all the way through to returns and delivery. And finally, trust is still a major issue, with fewer than 4% converting via desktop and less on smartphone and tablet. Comparing this to offline at around 20 to 40%, we still have a long way to go. The main reason being people still don't trust payment and online returns like they do offline. Building a robust website with secure payment facilities and a transparent returns policy will improve this, but you still have to get the customer to know about your website. A shortcut to this is to utilize marketplaces into your sales strategy, and you can piggyback their solution and their customer base. So what are some other benefits of selling online and on marketplaces? Marketplaces offer sellers access to a sizable audience with no real marketing or above-the-line investment. So again, as I mentioned, you're piggybacking their resource. You can speak to the business development managers, and they will help you and advise you. And that, it's in their interest to sell your products, because they don't get any percentages until your products are sold. So speak to them, be engaged with them, and it will definitely help. Also, marketplace open up new untapped revenue streams. Going on Amazon, you can go on 16 different countries. Newegg has 52 different countries you can engage with. Frugo has 32, so there are lots of channels out there that will help you open up untapped new revenue streams. They also streamline market entry. So the marketplaces are there to make it an easy process, so you're engaged and up and selling and live quickly, because again, once you're selling, they're making their revenues and making their percentages. They also offer financial and organizational stability, and they're better than going it alone. So, yep, they've been doing it a long time. They know what they're doing. It's safer than launching and cheaper than launching your own website in a new country you don't know a lot about. So, utilize them as much as you can. Speak to the business development manager you've been assigned, or most channels do assign you a business development manager, and use them and speak to them about options. And insight into new markets with very little investment. So it's a great tester, sticking your toe in the water of new countries. It's a bit of market research. It basically opens you up to new countries without having to go there regularly and launch your own channel. And finally, they have a proven and loyal customer base. It takes a lot of time to build up these customer bases, and marketplaces that are there, they have this. So again, utilize that, and you'll see the rewards. This is a short case study from Bleakbox. In 2016, they came to us at Pivot, and they were turning over some good numbers, but only in the UK. We took their SKUs, looked at what they were doing, and straight away it identified newegg.com and .ca in Canada as the first two regions to focus on, and then put them on another 8. So they're now seeing GMV triple-digit growth year on year, looking at another 8 countries, and looking at integration solutions and effect solutions. So they've really gone from a UK company to a global entity in the space of nearly 2 years. So, how to enter and maintain a marketplace? First thing to look at is, do you currently have any international sales organically? So if you're selling, say, 8 pieces a month in Australasia or wherever, that could be the first place to look at. Look at the channels that are in their relevant marketplaces and verticals in country, and also look at competition in the market, see what the price point is, see if you can be comparative. Then another great thing to look at is sales cycle. If you're selling something like shorts and t-shirts in the UK and you're only in the summer, is your sales cycle. Look to countries where it's counter-cyclical like Australia or the Middle East, when it's sunny in the winter, and you can have a full 365 sales cycle, which would definitely improve sales. You can also allocate you'll have to allocate internal resources to do this, as I mentioned earlier. It's like opening a new store, but online. It won't just happen on itself. You do have to allocate internal resources. I can't stress how important this is. But if you don't have them, there are third-party solutions out there that will assist and advise. Also, logistics and return solutions. There are multiple solutions out there you'll meet at events like this who take the pain away and outsource all your logistics and returns. And again, foreign exchange solutions out there that are available that will get your money repatriated at a better rate than through wire transfer, or less involved than having a bank account in country. Once you're up and running, look at local partners. In China, in most cases, you need a TP, a trade partner, which can be a bit of a minefield, but the big channels out there have their preferred partners, so speak to them and they'll give you the right partner. And finally, once you're live and up and running, very integral, you've got to keep on top of your channel management. You need to, if you get a bad review, please act on it. You don't want lots of 1 and 2 stars, because if you get too many, you might get kicked off the channel. And okay, there are people out there that complain and always want a freebie, but you do have to deal with it. It is a minefield, but you have to be engaged with the customer and appease their problem, because it will lead to less sales if you don't.